tonight's video, we're going to be talking football again. The Euros finished, so this video is coming out 2 days ago on Sunday. So I thought it would be a good idea to sit down, have a nice chill chat, ramble about the tournament, give my thoughts and stuff, and talk a little about England's failure. And also, as we go through, take a look at my predictions, how they compare to what actually ended up happening. And as you can imagine, the predictions weren't great, but it's always the risk when you do them. But yeah, my overall thoughts on the tournament, I think it was a pretty entertaining one. I don't think it's going to go down in history as one of the greatest tournaments ever. I think overall a lot of the games they aired more on the side of tactics kind of thing, rather than being, massively entertaining. There were some insanely entertaining games, but because a lot of them were very, very tactical, when you got an actually entertaining game, it was like, oh, here we are, kind of thing. I'll talk first about Spain. Deserved winners, 100%. They, being an Englishman, obviously disappointed not to win, but I'll be completely honest, after the events of the previous Euros tournament, I kind of wasn't expecting us, well, not kind of, I did not think we were going to win the game. I predicted 2-1 Spain before the game, and that's what happened. It definitely doesn't sting as much as the previous one in my opinion, to be completely honest, but Spain, right from the first group game, have been the most entertaining to watch. They attacked every game, they played beautiful sort of attacking football where I think too many teams were guilty of not playing that way. I don't know, it's Spain and they have it's sort of ingrained in their culture, their way of playing, but I think other big nations who are expected to do well kind of should have adopted the Spain way of playing a little bit more as well, and probably would have had more success. But yeah, Spain, well done to all Spaniards who are watching this video. Thoroughly deserved, for sure. No hard feelings from me. But what I think we should do is rewind to the group stages, and we can basically side by side take a look at my predictions. So let me just load them up. Okay, so we begin with Group A. Now my predictions, I'll jot them on screen. If not, well, I can just tell you. You've probably seen the video realistically. So I predicted Germany first. I predicted Hungary second. I predicted Scotland third and Switzerland fourth. Evidently, didn't come to pass. Germany first came in, but I'm pretty sure everyone in the world predicted Germany to come top of that group. And there were really two teams in there that were big surprises for contrasting reasons. Firstly, Hungary, I thought were a bitter disappointment, to be honest. They didn't really look like they were in any of the games, although they did give us that lovely moment of that late goal against Scotland. But they were just disappointing, very, very lackluster. Whereas you look at Switzerland, and wow, they were lovely to watch. I mean, fair play to Scotland for getting a point off them, but Switzerland looked excellent, really, really good. Got a draw against Germany, so they left the group unbeaten. They were great. So Switzerland, well, what was the game that they won? Yeah, it was 3-1 against Hungary, and they just looked, again, probably one of those teams that played way question as a Scotland fan. But yeah, they were just disappointing. But yeah, fair play. Germany just looked totally dominant, and out the gate it looked like they were going to be one of the clear favourites. So now moving on to Group B, I predicted Spain first, Italy second, Croatia third, Albania fourth, and that is exactly what happened. But I feel like the way that table finished doesn't really tell the story. Italy somehow getting 4 points because they got that very late equaliser against Croatia. Italy was so poor this tournament, so poor. It was like even when they were losing, it was like, can't really be bothered to try and get a goal. It was really strange. Like they just sort of pass it side to side. They played like England, like sort of used to, like at their absolute worst. I found it very interesting, but they still found a way to get out of the group because they beat Albania after going down very early. I was in an Irish bar in Cologne when that goal went in, and that was a good atmosphere. There were a few Italians in there who couldn't believe what they were saying. And then, yeah, Albania came bottom, but they were spirited, to be fair, like they did give it a go. And Croatia only finished with 2 points. Started off with that 3-0 loss to Spain, but Spain were just so unbelievably dominant in every game. And they won all the games, Spain. But yeah, really, I think on the face of it, Croatia probably deserved to get that second spot and go through, but Selavi, if you can't find a way to win at least one of your games, then it's very likely you're not gonna make it through, and that's what happened with Croatia. So, moving on to Group C, in which I predicted England first, Denmark second, Serbia third, and Slovenia fourth. Serbia were a bitter disappointment this tournament. I know they got 2 draws, but goodness me, they were really not great at all, and one of their goals was like a late Luka Jovic header, I think, against Slovenia, wasn't it? And it wasn't deserved at all, was not deserved at all. I went to Gelsenkirchen for the opener, England against Serbia, and to be fair, England was just very poor, and Serbia really probably should have maybe scored a goal in that game. But we dominated the group, that's the main thing. It wasn't pretty. In fact, I'd say it was very ugly, to be honest. A 1-0 win and a draw against Denmark, which a draw against Denmark isn't bad because they're a solid team. And then a lovely 0-0 draw against Slovenia, but I was kind of in a way pleased with Slovenia because it meant that they went through as a well-placed third-place team. So Slovenia came third, so I was slightly off with my top 2 predictions there, but to be fair, got England and Denmark right, and a few people in the comments said it wouldn't be Denmark, it would be Serbia getting that second spot, so I'm taking that as a win. I'll have to take them where I can. Now next up we have Group D, and a bit of a surprise in this group, wasn't there? So I went first France, second Netherlands, and third Austria, fourth Poland. Now Poland did finish bottom, probably one of the worst teams in the whole tournament, but the big surprise was Austria. They looked great. They're so clearly very well coached under Ralf Rangnick, and they sort of epitomise the importance of it being a squad game, being the European tournament being a squad game, because so many of their squad, I think maybe nearly all of their players played by the keepers in some way or another, and everyone knew their roles very clearly, and again really tried to play positively. And we'll get onto the knockouts in a bit, but I was kind of disappointed they didn't do better, Austria, because they, in the group stages, I mean, they lost narrowly to France, but they 100% should have had something out of that game. They were all over France. Kante put in a great performance and he was bailing. 1-0 and 1-0, but France were kind of similar to England this tournament. Found ways to get results, but didn't ever really look all that convincing in doing so. And Netherlands got through with as a best place, third place team on 4 points, and they beat Poland. So, and I mean, it was kind of crazy that Poland's only point was against France, but France kind of knew they were already through anyway. So yeah, got that wrong, but happily wrong, because it was nice to see Austria do well. Group E was very, very tight. I obviously went Belgium top, Ukraine second, Slovakia third, Romania fourth. Well, Romania actually topped the group, but everyone finished on 4 points, so it's kind of like everyone won, lost and drew one game. But the saving grace for Romania was that they won their open against Ukraine 3-0. And they were great on the break. They just looked really dangerous in that game. Lost to Belgium and then drew with Slovakia. And then Belgium drew with Ukraine to make things all even. So Belgium looked okay. Slovakia with probably the most notable performance, that admirable hanging on to the win against Belgium was great. But you got to feel for Ukraine, though, getting 4 points. But everyone else is on 4, but you're the one that misses out because you lost 3-0 in your opener. So yeah, really didn't get that one right. Technically did, but not really. And then Group F, which I actually think was one of the more entertaining groups in my opinion. So I predicted Portugal first, Georgia second, Turkey third, and Czech Republic bottom. Now, Czech did finish bottom, but I had Georgia and Turkey the wrong way round, but thankfully Georgia went through on 4 points. And I sort of said in my predictions video, I really think Georgia can do well, even though it's their first tournament. I'm expecting them to give a really good account of themselves, and they're a very, very solid team. And I think they more than did that, to be fair. Apart from Spain, they were probably the team I enjoyed watching the most, because they just gave every game such a good go. Like, they lost to Turkey 3-1, but it was only 3 because of a very late, counter-attack and open goal. And I think Arda Güler scored an absolute wonder goal, but Turkey looked very good as well, and probably, I'm just glad all 3 went through, because all 3 did deserve to go through. But wow, Georgia's win against Portugal was amazing. That Mikatadze, he looked excellent. And actually, little side note, my partner did a Euros fantasy football with work, and I did a little bit of research to help her with player recommendations, and Mikatadze was one I told her to put in from the start because he had a really good scoring record coming into the tournament for, was it Lille? No, Metz. That's for Metz. But yeah, Georgia just gave every game really took each game by the scruff of the neck, and they were excellent to watch. Really enjoyable. But Turkey looked great, Portugal looked great, apart from a certain man. They just continue to play, and he is just a detriment to the good of the team. And Turkey, that Arda Güler is going to be a superstar, isn't he? Goodness me. He is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, that is that. Let's go back and have a look at where are we? Round of 16. Here we go. So, round of 16 games. The first batch, we had Switzerland take on Italy, with Switzerland emerging 2-0 winners, and you know what, they thoroughly deserved it. Italy offered, honestly, next to nothing that game, and like I said, Italy were a big disappointment in this tournament. And then Germany beat Denmark 2-0. Denmark, quite unlucky really. I mean, Germany always looked like they were going to win, but Denmark I can't remember off the top of my head, but was there like a VAR moment or like a penalty shout? I can't remember. think Germany won that 2-0. And then England, Slovakia. Now, to come clean, I didn't actually watch this game. I was in London watching a Across the Spider-Verse in concert. And side note, if you're an Across the Spider-Verse fan, Daniel Pemberton, who composed the music for it, I actually met him beforehand and got a picture of him, so I was absolutely buzzing about that. And that show was amazing. But it got to like the interval and I didn't have signal and I was trying to find somebody who get the game up, and yeah, I was filled in on what happened. Crazy. By the sounds of it, we weren't great again, but somehow yet again we found a way to drag ourselves into the next round. And then Spain beat Georgia 4-1. I mean, yeah, I think Georgia went 1-0 up, but then Spain just decided to turn it on, and I think from pretty early on you could see that Spain deserved to win the tournament. Just the positivity they played with, and I love the fact they play like two wingers with like sheer pace around a kind of hold it up target man in Morata. It's kind of like old school, like a more old school 4-3-3, and I love it. None of this 4-2-3-1 nonsense. Although at times they do play as a 4-2-3-1 with Fabian Ruiz dropping deep and Olmo playing in the 10, because sadly Pedri got injured, didn't he? But Olmo looked amazing when he came in. And then we had France beating Belgium, Portugal v Slovenia. I really felt for Slovenia. They did so well to hold Portugal for so long, and then just missed all their penalties. Like, fair play to Costa, the Portuguese keeper. He was unbelievable in that shootout. Then we have Netherlands beating Romania, no surprise there, and then Turkey beating Austria, which did surprise me. I think I predicted Austria to win, but yeah, they were a little disappointing, Austria. It was almost like they panicked a little bit, like, oh, we've made it through kind of thing. Whereas Turkey, it was absolutely lashing it down, and it did, like, the quality of the game was so poor by the end of it, because the ball either skidded out or like would hold up, but it made for great viewing. Anyways, so those were the round of 16. So I had predicted to go through in the round of 16 Spain, Germany to be the next quarterfinal, which it was. Portugal v Netherlands. Portugal and Netherlands, who were both through. Belgium and France, which impossible because France had already beaten Belgium. And then England and Hungary I had, which definitely not the case. Then we had the quarterfinals, Spain versus Germany, a thoroughly enjoyable game. Probably the two best teams at the tournament, in my opinion. And that late goal from Marino, I still now can't understand how he's generated enough, like he's like stopped dead in the air, floated there, and then like generated the power to head it in. Like, it was outrageous. And that Carval red card was so funny at the end. But he was like, I'm already suspended for the next game, may as well firm it. But yeah, it's a shame because I think that game probably deserved to be the final, but that's obviously not the way the tournament works. But Spain deserved winners in my opinion at that game. And then we had Portugal versus France, with France winning on penalties. That game was pretty poor, to be honest. Portugal just need to put Ronaldo out of his misery. I can't comprehend the fact that he might play in the next World Cup, and it's just going to hold Portugal back even more. I can't remember if it was that game or the game before, where he was taking free kicks and shooting from like literally like by the throw-in line, and it was just getting embarrassing, and he was throwing a tantrum. And then I think it was the game before that, because then he was oh my gosh, the crying. I mean, I've never laughed so much at a grown man crying in my life. It was absolutely pitiful, and it's just embarrassing, really. It's a bit of a shame. It's a man that can't accept that he's aged and he's basically done, to honest, he's already playing in a retirement league. And it's not good to watch because he was one of the best footballers in the world, but now it's just sad because it's clear he just can't come to terms with it, kind of thing. And it's holding Portugal back. You've got a talented attackers sat on the bench like Jota, Gonzalo Ramos. You must be thinking, for goodness sake, get this old man off. I know they don't think that because he's like God to them, but it really held Portugal back this tournament. It really, really did. I have to say, one Portugal player I was really impressed with was Nuno Mendes. He was a player in a lot of the games. Really, really good. But yeah, France took that one narrowly. And then we had England beating Switzerland on penalties. A lovely goal from Saka. And it was a bit of a nothing game. It wasn't as dire as some of the group games, I thought, but it's always sweet going for on penalties, isn't it? And I had a fun experience at the pub watching that with my mates from home, so that was good. And then we had Netherlands knock out Turkey, which was a shame. I'd have liked to see Turkey get to the semis, but they couldn't quite do it. And then we have Spain beating France 2-1 in the semi-final, all the goals coming in the first half. Really, again, I have to say, I know Mbappe did break his nose, but he was a big disappointment. I don't think he scored a goal, but having said that, France barely scored any goals of their own doing. I know, Mbappe did score when he scored a penalty, didn't he? And France just very disappointing. But yeah, Spain looked relatively comfortable, I thought, to be completely honest. And then we have Netherlands v England. Wow, that Ollie Watkins goal was genuinely incredible. I was just watching it at home for this one because I do like going to the pub, but I equally like watching it at home because you get to hear the commentary and stuff. That Xavi Simons goal was amazing, but then I think on the whole of it, I think we did deserve to win. It was probably the best we'd played, no, definitely the best we'd played all tournament. And Netherlands did have some good chances, but I'd say it was probably England who slightly played the better and deserved it. And I'm really pleased for Watkins. And, you know, really side note about England, well, we'll talk about them after we've spoken about the final. That brings us into it. Spain 2-1, like I said. Spain thoroughly deserved to be winners. But I think, as of today, Southgate has left, which, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Southgate. I think, managerial-wise, he's probably like championship level, I would say. But I think people so aggressively calling for his head need to remember where he's taken us. And I know, yes, he's been carried at times by the quality that he's got at his disposal, but then equally we went for a period of having Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Rooney, etc., Beckham winning nothing. So it's not always a given, and he's taken us to finals, semi-finals, and for as long as I've been alive, given me the best England memories ever. So I think it's the right time for him to move on, and I'd like to see England go for somebody who has either won a load of stuff before or will play positive football. So like, out of the English, probably Potter and Howe are the best options, but I don't think Eddie Howe would leave Newcastle, really. I'd love to see us try and get Jurgen Klopp. I think he would turn us into a super team, honestly, but I don't think the FA would be able to tempt him out of retirement for that. I reckon if Klopp comes out of retirement, it'll be for the Real Madrid job. But yeah, I think England, we didn't play badly by any means in the final. I just don't really think it can be overanalyzed that Spain are just a better, well-drilled and well-coached team than us, and it's as simple as that, and the better team won on the day. And there's plenty of, you know, players who, you know, in 2 years' time, I think will have a more prominent role. Walton, Mainey was excellent in what he did. I'm sure Eze will have more involvement development, and then there's players who are youngish who will be more senior in 2 years' time, like your Saka, your Foden, etc. One thing for me was Harry Kane can't have been fully fit this tournament. Like, he's always dropped deep, which is typical of his play, but like there were times where he just like wasn't moving at all. And then you miss it when you bring Watkins on, who, you know, rapidly closes down. He makes you realise even more, yeah, he's not alright. He's definitely not alright. And the worry is, there's not really any, like, really good young English strikers coming through. I know Solanke had a good season, but is he of the level to replace Kane? I don't think so. I think Watkins is good for now, but I'm thinking like long term. Not really anybody coming through. But yeah, overall, a very enjoyable tournament. I think definitely not the best. It's not going to be up there with the greatest ever, but it did have some very enjoyable games, and obviously it was the first tournament that I actually went to as an England fan, so it obviously will have a special place in my heart. And as you can tell from me wearing my Ipswich shirt, I'm just more than ready for the Premier League season to start. I really cannot wait for that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know what country you're from and how you felt your team did, and whether you enjoyed the Euros or not. But yeah, that is going to do it for tonight's video. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you did, if you could leave a like, that would be lovely. And if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing. But until the next video, everybody,